Hi. Hello. Playing dress up today. Actually, trying to see what lighting. One second. I have to move this whole desk out. It's very annoying. Okay. Okay. So, playing dress up. Doing some live readings, doing some chat, playing with the lighting. Ooh. Made it a little lighter. Not sure if people got my announcement. I know we're getting going towards Christmas. I know everybody's like getting ready for that. Hi, Mike. Why can't I chat? Okay, I got it. Okay, here we go. I'm typing. Things are going good. How are things going with you? Just doing all the holiday stuff. You know? Oops. I've been having issues. Oops. What? No, don't want to do that. You have to talk to me because I'm doing this. And I don't know if people are going to come on here. So I'm doing I have allergies. Is anyone else having allergies? Because I am. I forget not everybody's here in LA with me. So I'm doing like a little fancy live. I'm bringing not really. Just playing dress up. Just playing dress up. Ooh, fancy, I know. I'm being fancy. Okay. So, how's everybody's doing? How's everybody's week? It's been kind of, I don't know about you, but it seems like I didn't grow up celebrating Christmas, so the whole Christmas thing is always a lot to me. It's always like so much to do. Hi, Zachary. Oh, have you caught my latest? It looks like really bright in here, huh? There, that's better. Anybody catch the latest podcast episode? And did you hear, for those of you who were a part of this brainchild of me doing a seance for aliens, I posted it. So there you go. Hope you're all satisfied. I officially look cuckoo all over online. Also, did you hear the Bermuda Triangle episode I did? Because that was kind of awesome. Hi, Terry. Sometimes we get fancy food with friends and we call it fancy as fuck. That's what we're doing today. We're being fancy as fuck. Was that a good pose? I like that. That's awesome. Hey, Terry. I like Terry's emojis. Hello, the reading, writing poet. How is everyone? Oh, who's this? Reading, writing poet. What name are you going? What name are you? Thanks. That's what I thought. Okay. Did you get my message? Did you get Alejandra? Did you get my message? I sent you the email. I did a reading for her today. Yeah. Oh, I just got chills, Alejandra. So I did a reading. Do you mind if I tell people the subject matter, not the details of the reading? But because I always forget to tell people this type of reading that I do. Yes, go ahead. Okay. So I did an animal medium reading, which I don't like, I forget to tell people I do. And she's like, "Oh, do they give signs?" And I'm like, "Not normally. They don't need to." And I'm like, then I hang up with you, Alejandra. I click on a really like kind of like stupid, not stupid. I mean, like I just click on a show, like you know what I mean, like a show that's just gonna be, you know how you put on a shows while you're like doing other stuff, right? So I'm working, eating some lunch real quick before I have a break and getting stuff done. And on the show, and this show's supposed to actually kind of be like about like crime and stuff. And it's a scripted show. And immediately the guy goes, "Oh, I had a dog that died at 15." Well, her pet that she wanted me to communicate with passed at 15. And then they start to talk about the rainbow and where animals go when they die. This was like right after I'm like, no, they usually just come visit you and it's all good. And I'm like, no, you don't need to worry about signs and things like this. Click. Not that we do click anymore, but it's for facts. And I go, okay, I'm gonna eat my salad and watch the show and take a break before I have all this other stuff to do. And it's like first thing. Then I click over, I think it was on TikTok or I don't know. And oh, no, it was on my Instagram and it's someone I know. She's an actually well-known actress and she's talking about rainbow and the rainbow bridge and animals who pass. So there's your sign, Alejandra. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to email her right now because so obviously her animal who she communicated with was like, "Mm-mm. I'm surprised you didn't know about the Rainbow Bridge." Yeah, because it's not really how it works. People talk about it, but animals to me, they're free range. They go anywhere in that realm, anywhere in this realm. So I don't know why people call it that. It's not something really needed. But in general, I guess people are trying to say animals don't need to go to heaven or hell or something. And, you know, I never heard of the Rainbow Bridge. Yeah, I've heard of it, but it's not something I really take to heart. But I know it's kind of the concept that, because animals are innocent and, they don't go to the same place as everyone else. And there is some truth to that. I think it came from a poem. Okay. So, anyway, what's important is you got your sign. Okay. I don't know if you want me to tell people what kind of animal you had, what kind of pet you had, but her animal was like, um, actually, it's a parrot. So her parrot was like, "Actually, I do have a sign for her." Because I wasn't gonna watch that. I was gonna watch something else, and I wasn't gonna even watch that at all. And something was like, "Watch that one." I never get a break, everyone. Even when I'm trying to just have some salad, I will hear and feel that realm, even if I'm not trying to feel that realm. Yeah, so I felt like he was like, correction. I have a message for here's your sign. So that was awesome. Anyway, how's every as a bird owner, I'm not surprised they're very present. Yeah, persistent. Didn't I say that to you, Alejandra? I said, I'm used to connecting with cats and dogs, and they're very like, this is how it is, deal with it kind of thing, and loud. And I prepared her. I said, oh, he may just be like, very like, this is how it is. I died, deal with it, because that's how a lot of animals are. But he was very like, "No, no, no, I have things to say, and I have things to tell her, and ba ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba ba." Yes, you said that it was different from cats and dogs. Yeah, it was very different. He was a little bit it was a little more spiritual, and when I tapped into his energy, it felt very confirming as to why I'm always jealous of birds, because 'cause they're kind of really connected to that realm. I mean, they kinda live in it most of the time, you know? Anyway, how's everybody doing? And if he bugged you while you were eating, that's a joke because he always bugged us when we ate. He always stole our people's food, so I guess he wanted your salad. He just wanted me to know what was up. He was like, "You said this and you were wrong. I'm gonna tell you what's up." And I was like, "Okay, you do want to give her a sign. Gotcha." Hi, Kath. Yeah, so I did a reading for Alejandra today, and I do animals. I probably should I've done a few videos on it, and I'm having my coffee in my fancy style. So if you heard the latest podcast, if you haven't, you should listen to it because I've never done any episode about I've never done anything really in general that has to do with the Bermuda Triangle. And this had to do with the Bermuda Triangle. And that I don't know, that was really interesting. So it's the one that aired, what's today? Today, Tuesday. So much has happened. I feel like this is so anyway, anybody also getting ready for the holidays? I know that's like such a dumb question. Everybody probably asks you that. But I love the stories from the triangle. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I got a little tripped up reading it because um I do the sound effects and I was worried they were too loud. But so when I was pausing, but sometimes also I was trying to like kind of go over the email, but I loved that story. It was very interesting. Don't forget to send in your stories to the house medium at Gmail. Sometimes I'll have people on more than once, or sometimes I have you on and then maybe I read yours on the reader's room. I bought the book you suggested. I haven't been able to start it yet. What's the book? Oh, Oleander. Yeah. You can also rent the book, Kath, and you could, if you want to just not have to dive into a whole book, if you don't want to, you could also rent the movie. And the movie's with um who stars in it again? It's the actress who played the daughter, I don't know her name. Oh, I didn't put my mic in. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm not doing the mic today. And it's with no, not who's the actress again? Not why do I want to say Meg Ryan? Because it is not Meg Ryan. Yes, you can hear. Okay. But anyway, you can watch the movie. Hear you great. Okay, great. Thanks, Zachary. So, also on today's podcast, I just told everybody how I'm doing the alien seance. And I was trying to remember on my Patreon, I asked everybody, like, what did we give it? We gave it a name, a weird name, and it's Michelle Pfeiffer. Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer. Where did Terry go? Terry's all quiet. What's up, Terry? We want to know if you have gone on in dates yet. I believe in the universal alignment, so I believe you told me the book for a good reason. Maybe there's a reason for me. Could be. The book isn't, the movie is pretty spot on to book. The only thing they changed in the movie was exactly what I said. They kind of whitewashed the characters, some of the characters, and people were upset about it. But, to be honest, it was pretty spot on. But you may, maybe you'll get more out of the book, but I would say you could see the movie and be fine. But you got to follow what works for you. You know what I mean? If that feels right for you, I should say. So what else are we talking about? I'm doing some readings today if people want, but also we can chat, any paranormal stuff. Anybody have any questions about things like that? And yeah, I'm getting ready to go into the holidays, and I don't know, it's always so stressful. The way I grew up, it was not stressful at all. We didn't do presents for everyone in the family. That was not, we only did presents for kids. I didn't celebrate Christmas. I grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. That's a long story. And I grew up celebrating, you know, we only did presents for kids, so adults didn't do all this stuff. But when you become a mother, you need to ante up, give the kids some magic. What's going on with everybody else? I don't want to be the only one talking. Nothing? Yes? No? Okay. Well, I'll give you a subject that I heard. I'll probably talk about this on my podcast as well. Been painting a lot. Oh, nice. Nothing much. Okay. I saw this video that they have started an AI private school in Austin, Texas. So the teachers are aides, like they help their assistant, they assist the kids on the learning, and the AIs, wait for it, the AIs are like if it's Einstein and his theory, that he's taught, they are learning about his theories and the works of him. He's talking as an AI to the kids. Like you see him and he's like alive, like, well, what you really want to know is Martin Luther King, all these historical, famous historical people who have, that we learned about, they are talking directly to the kids in an AI form, kind of like the Jetsons, a hologram. That's cool. I know. And the whole school, it's not, I wish we all want the Jetsons and the hologram, but we're not there yet. It's not a hologram. It's kind of like like if this picture right here had you know, Einstein in it, and then he would be like, well, what happened is blah, 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 blah. And the kids learn from the AI, and the aides kind of, the adults that are there kind of assist the children learning, but they're not the teachers. Now, I'm going to do a video of this, but if anybody has followed me for the past few years, especially the past 3 years, I've been saying this is the way the future is going to go in education. I kept foreseeing like it's going to be almost like a hybrid where kids will learn, and that there wasn't going to be like, listen, I think I love teachers, but there's been some problematic situations. Anyway, that it was going to turn into this where kids could go and learn kind of like in this kind of way or learn from home in this kind of way. And then I always foresee these like kind of pod type places where the kids can go and meet and socialize. Anyway, we're here. AI is now teaching children, and the whole school is 100% AI, and it's a private school. So what do you guys think? What do you think? Would you like, if you had the cash, because we know it's expensive, right? To send your kid to a school like that, would you? Just curious. So I'm just talking. I don't know if anybody wants a reading tonight, or we could just chat. Either way, how's I don't know where Terry was. The cafeteria food better be amazing. Listen, in private schools, they are. They are. I have to not be fancy now and drink some water. Maybe because the regular teachers, there's always human error. It's not just that, but if we can get away from problematic teachers, right? Teachers who are emotionally have bring in fancy cheeses. Don't worry, I have those too. This is fancy, fancy live, fancy. Oh, did you? If anybody watches The Office, this is what is it? High Society Club. This is the High Society Club. We're having the High Society Club. Everybody, if you watch The Office, they have the High Society Club. Anyway, so any other topics? If you guys don't want any readings and any other topics, I mean, I'm just yippity yappity yappity yapping. I've never, what? Alejandro, you may not be your sense of humor. If you like, it's dragons, anything, the topic is dragons. What about dragons? What about dragons? What are you asking? No. Do I believe in dragons? No. Sorry. Um, I believe, like a lot of things, sometimes things that are real get misconstrued, or the story, the tale, kind of like telephone, the story gets exaggerated as it passes down. So, um, do I believe that there were maybe some kind of amazing creature we don't know about in the past that no longer exists? Yes, but do I believe in dragons currently? No. Does that make sense? Can you tell me when you meet someone if they're also can you tell when you meet someone if there's also a medium? Um a medium isn't somebody who it's something you have to work on. You can have a raw talent, and if you don't know how to hone it, it doesn't mean anything. So you have to hone it. I don't think people understand that it's not like something you wake up and go, "Ah, I'm now this." I had a raw ability from the time I was very little, extremely little, and I had no idea what it was. I didn't understand it. I didn't know how I was seeing people in my room. I didn't know how I was seeing I knew the things I knew until much, much later, but I had to harness and hone and hone and hone and hone. I don't think people understand that you have to practice and take it seriously. It's like a way of life. and you have to hone it, just like if you wanted to be the best trumpet player, but you have a gift for trumpet playing or you have a gift for some kind of art form. You have to master it daily, daily. And it is nothing to do about you. You give yourself over to the craft of it and to the art of it. So I think people think it's way more fantastical than it is really something you run from. Dragons haunt my dreams, are always after me. My last dragon dream, some old lady threw me through a portal and a big dragon was after me and other people. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Kind of. So there's a term in magic called chasing the dragon, and chasing the dragon is kind of like looking for magic in a way, or some people believe that the dragons also kind of that it could almost be construed as like a a kind of god, goddess, deity, alien, something like that. Um, let's see. The Fae have been saying hello lately. I found 3, 4 leaf clovers in our yard yesterday. Oh, okay, cool. How about telekinesis? It's very rare. I haven't really seen anyone have telekinesis where they can move things, but I have seen people do telekinesis like with electrical, like affecting electronics a lot. I've even had that effect myself. But actually moving an object, but believe me, I'm on the hunt for that. I would love to meet somebody who has it, but I have yet to seen it. How do you see AI affecting spirituality? Recently did some tarot readings myself. I fed it into chat GPT and surprisingly it made quite detailed interpretation for me. It was interesting. I think AI is going to be an awesome connection to psychics and helpful for psychics. I absolutely believe that the other realm that I see, the on the other side, that world is very similar to, it's pretty much a high tech place. In other words, it's an advanced world. It's like this world, but much more advanced. So I believe AI is going to absolutely help. But like I did on my podcast, and I did myself talking to the AI, to ChatGPT, and said, "Do you think AIs can be psychic?" And they said no, because we're very programmed to predict the facts, but we can't foresee things in that way, and that's a very human thing, empathy and all that. But I think it'll be a good assistant. Um, how do you see a oh wait, I felt 100% confident about the art of getting universal message for people, but channeling specific people for me is very uncommon. There's not that kind of clarity. Yeah, I worked on that for 15 years of knowing how to get specific person for that person. That is something I've mastered for the last 20 years, and that has pretty much daily. But I was always able to get people for people no matter what. But being able to say, who do you want to talk to? And I'll talk to that person. That is definitely not too many. I hate to say it this way, but most psychics are not mediums. It's kind of unusual to be both in my experience. In in a very detailed way. Most readers I know are either doing like angel or psychic readings, but they don't do mediumship readings. Being a medium is mediating the dead to the living, mediating the dead to the living. Being spirit communicating and saying there's spirits somewhere around here is not mediating the dead to living. So yeah, that makes sense. So if the dragon is chasing me, does that mean the magic is chasing me? It's kind of felt threatening. I always felt attacked or under attack when I dream of dragon, which is sad because it. No, I don't think that the magic's chasing you. When you say, it's kind of like you're running away from something that maybe you need to embrace. Insight, inspire. I've always thought of dragons as protectors because they are literally protect gold. Yeah. Dragons are protectors, and if you're running from it, to me, that means you are running. Are we like chimps to the beings on the other side? We're like children. We're like children. So yeah, I think that mean if you're running, I think you're running away from something you need to embrace with yourself, maybe magical. Also, we're like children, and I was thinking about this. You know how there's like Elf on the Shelf, and all the parents are doing this, and they think it's so funny, and they put their kids through this kind of torture and make them believe that there's something magically happening and that this elf is moving around, but the children don't understand how it's happening. Um, and they think there's something really happening, and they're like, how did it get there? How is that happening? How did the elf do this? And they don't really understand it. And obviously an adult is doing this to them and laughing and thinking, oh, how cute. They really believe this elf is like scary and moving around and watching. By the way, I think it's horrible. Elf on the Shelf. That is how the other side sees us, that you guys get so scared about all these things and what they're doing and how are they doing it, and they're like, it's really not that complicated. So once kids find out, oh, it's just my mom and dad moving the elf around, it really wasn't that complicated, it's very similar. I've always thought it okay. I used to watch Ghost Whisperer, but then they focused too much on her appearance. I'm not a straight guy, so plus it got repetitive. Ugh, God, I hate that show. I hate it. Hate that show. Sorry, Terry. And funny story. I live here in LA, and I was driving into Trader Joe's, and what's her name? Jennifer Love Love Hewitt, right? She was pulling and she was driving a mini coupe, pulling into the Trader Joe's I was. I almost hit her car because I almost like pulled into her space. And when I realized I didn't know who it was. I saw her get out. I'm like, oh shit, I almost hit her car. That would have not been good. Parked, went into the store, and then I saw her in the wine section, and I tried to like leave because I didn't want her to think I was like trying to come after her. And she literally looked at me like, yes, what? And I wanted to say, you're terrible. You're a terrible You're a terrible rendition of a medium. You're awful. That's what I really wanted to tell her. Like, you're embarrassment to all mediums. Please let me tell you how terrible you are. It said I just like looked at her and turned around and left. Um, do you pick up mediumship to practice to other avenues, or how you said it's different conversing with those passed on? Huh? Did you pick up mediumship to practice over other avenues? I didn't. It doesn't work like that, honey. It picked me. I didn't pick up anything. It picked me. It doesn't work like that. I didn't set my I didn't have teachers. I'd have no physical teachers. I had no internet. I had no TV shows. I had no nothing. I had nothing to tell me. It picked me. That's how it works. It's something you have very strongly. It is so part of who you are, and you try to run from it and ignore it, and you can't. It's the same as me having brown eyes. I didn't pick these brown eyes. She mentioned before that she ran away from it for years. Yeah. So like I never I mean years and years. And then I started to do it, and then I ran away from it again, because I didn't want to. Most people who are worth their salt are not looking for it. My experience, people who really, really are gifted, um, really don't want it. That's my experience. Usually people with this ability aren't looking for it or trying to figure out if they have it. You just have it, and then you are hoping it would go away. And it never goes away. So I gave into it, and I honored it and learned how to hone it, because I wanted to be the best, to be responsible for everyone, to give my best to everyone, to help people the best way I can, not because I wanted to be the best at it. There's a big difference. if that makes sense. But what came with it, I did get very good at it. I recently read that Oracle of Delphi was actually high on fumes in their chambers, but I don't see no fumes around you when you read. I don't know who that is. I don't even know who that is. I don't know what you're talking about, Terry. Who's who's the Oracle of Delphi? A lot of people who do that kind of work, a lot of people do that. They take stuff to see. Um, Here's the thing you got to understand that if you're what I see a lot of people do is they want to have this ability to feel important and to feel special and to have people look at them that way. And that's why I say to you, when you really have this ability strong, it takes over your life. So um and it's disrupting, and you can't really have friends, and you don't live a normal life. So nobody is running towards it. So whenever I see people trying so hard to prove themselves, it's a little questionable. You mentioned how other readers aren't necessarily mediums and they gather messages from different places than the other side. So I was just seeing if you did the 15 years of practice. Um, I didn't do anything because I was interested. It no, what I didn't do 15. I did 20 years. I'm saying my whole life, my whole career, I've been honing it. Um, And what I said is that I was trying to say is that a lot of people who say, "Oh, there's somebody in the room with me, there's somebody around you." That's all I was saying is that spirit communication and mediumship is when you are mediating a message, just kind of like what mediation is. If I was in a room and I was in the middle and someone was here and someone else was here and I was like, "What do you want me to tell them?" And I tell them, that's it. It's not about you. It's nothing to do with you. Who gives a fuck about you? It's you passing the message on to that person. And it is not something I looked for. It is something I happened. I started off recognizing my medium side first because it wouldn't leave me the fuck alone. And then I gave in to my intuitive side because I did did a reading for someone and it was spot on, and then they told other people and those people wanted it, and I was like, I guess I'm doing this. Believe me, I didn't want to do any of it. And that's what I'm saying. I didn't go like, I'm interested in this, let me study it. I didn't do it that way. It's the opposite. It's something I ran from, didn't want to do, won't go away, will never go away. I tried to make it go away. And then I said, okay, if this is who I am, I'm going to dedicate myself to honing this. And I learned everything from the other side. I didn't learn anything from people here. And the reason for that is because too many people here and their egos are too insane. So that's why I ran away from it for years. It felt like it was stretching a rubber band. And when I finally embraced it, the brand went lax. Oh, that's a good description. I like that one. That's really good. Yeah, it does feel like that. It feels like a part of you that's just, it's not exactly a path we were shown in school. So, exactly. Definitely not the school I went to because I went to a private Christian school. So let me tell you, when I later went to a different type of private school that was a Waldorf school, and I told the teacher how I was seeing someone, they were like, "Oh, what do they look like?" Because they totally believe in that. Yeah, it's not a path you choose. And if people choose it, that's a little strange to me. It's something you give into. Most people I know who are worth their salt will say, have the same story. Usually. I'm not saying always, but usually. So I think that's like with anything, right? When somebody's really good at something, and they just naturally have that, then they realize they naturally have that, and then they choose. Maybe they want to hone it. I think we've talked about feeling this way in classes, another loves, but not how to deal with it. How do you deal with feeling drawn to that side, like choosing that side over this side. Like totally, especially I feel more open, I guess, to that side. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Um, I think I understand what you're saying, but basically that side is always, yeah, you're always going to have a draw to that side. Um, but you do have to live here, and being here is just as important as being there. So you have to remember you will never feel the sun on your face or um, a hug from a family member or your favorite, like that sensation of touch and that feeling alive isn't something you feel there. It's a different feeling, but not that. I feel like feeling you don't belong here, you'd rather be there. I never liked being here as a kid. How are you not a Netflix? They need to invite you on for episode of Afterlife Death. Ugh, not that show though. Isn't that with that medium? Isn't that with that Hollywood medium guy? But then again, when you reach superstardom, you're gonna forget us little people. First of all, who's not to say I'm not working on something? And second of all, the faces. And second of all, I only reason why I'm doing this is for all the people. That's the only reason why I put myself out there. So I would absolutely never forget anybody. Matter of fact, you guys are more interesting to me. I don't think you guys understand that. I try to get you guys to talk to me. It's the most talkative you've been in months. Um, Inside Inspire, yeah, I never feel like I belong here. I completely 1,100% and agree and understand. But I can tell you, um, I will tell myself it's hard. And I had that day today too, by the way. And I go, okay, there's a lot here. There's a lot here to do. There's a lot here to experience and see. And you'll have more than enough time in that realm. So that's how the faces, because it's that Hollywood medium guy. By the way, when I saw that title come out, um, I was like, oh my gosh, the tag's on here. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was approached to do a show called, and they were like, we want you to be like a Hollywood medium. So yeah. And then you know what I said to them? They wanted me to do exactly that show. So they wanted me to do a show where you talk to quote famous people, whatever. And I was like, no one's going to believe that because you could just Google someone. And like, I was like, that seems really shady. So anyway, um, thanks for the questions. Thanks for talking to me. This is different. Usually I'm reading you guys. Nobody wants reading, so we're just chatting. This is fun. What's your favorite advice to give people? I don't give advice, Kath. I'm a seer. So I don't see myself as giving advice. Um my I understand. I understand. I don't give advice because advice is like something people give based on experience of life as a seer, at least in my work. You know what I mean? I tell people what I see for them. Advice is like your friends and family go, oh, I went through this experience too. This is my advice of what you should do based on what I did for myself. And what I love about being a seer is that it's purely for you. What about telepathy? How does that work? Telepathy? Telepathic communication in the other realm. Do you have a motto for your own life then? I mean, I say it at the end of every thing I do. Follow yourself, follow no one, listen to your inner voice. I mean, I guess that would be a motto. What about telepathy? How does it work? Telepathic communication to that realm is um um it's like you use all the senses. So when I'm hearing telepathic in that realm, I hear, see, feel, taste, smell. I'm using all the senses and it all happens at once and it kind of downloads and you just boom, no. So it's not like, hey, it's not ESP, it's not you like hearing someone's thoughts running through their mind. You're like, oh, they want to go to the door and they have like a bread box in their hand and they want to be there at 2 o'clock. And you know what I mean? It's not like you just kind of you see an image, you get a feeling, and then you go boom, okay, I'm at the beach. I get it. You want to relax. It's very quick. It's a million times faster than the way we talk, and it's like imagine using like emojis, memes, gifs, and words thrown in and you're like boom, got it. So imagine like if I were able to send you a feeling, a song, and a gif, an emoji, and a meme all at once. So telepathic communication happens very fast. It happens very rare on the living to each other because everybody's really not good at it and blocks it out. So I don't really see that happening as often. But yeah, that would be my only motto that I can make sense of what you're asking. Because I don't I don't really have a motto besides that. My big thing and I would say to people is think for yourself, be discerning, use your mind. Don't look for heroes to save you or heroes to tell you to believe have all the answers. When you see other readers read, do you ever find the info contradict what you get? Not the fake readers, but real ones, because like sometimes people ask multiple readers, but got different news. When I used to read in a store, in a place, um, we call them psychic. What you described, Terry, we call them psychic hoppers. They hop from psychic to psychic. And we would, they would call me and they would get a reading and then they would hang up and I'd hear the phone ring the next door and I would know that they're now booking a reading with they booked a reading. And sometimes we would know like, oh, so and so booked with you and they booked with me because the people who do the bookings for us would tell us. Um, I would usually ask and go, "What did you say?" And usually we always if they're a good reader, we would all kind of get the same thing. It was very rare that someone said, "Oh, I told them this would happen," and I'm like, "Oh, I told them it wouldn't," or whatever. Usually, but honestly, when people come to me in a reading, they're like, "I got another reading," and they told me it's really annoying. Don't do that to psychics. They hate it. They hate it. If you want to I'm pretty good, cool about it. Like if someone says to me, "Oh, I got another reading from someone, and they said this," I'll go, "Listen, I don't really compare myself to other readers. I can just tell you what I see." But a lot of readers, it's kind of like, why are you coming to me then? You want me to like sometimes people want you to say what another reader said. You know what I mean? Like they're almost like, well, they told me everything's going to be great. What do you say? It's not a good plan. Yo, 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 Sean, is telepathic communication when you say something someone else was thinking? Um, Kinda, yeah. Sometimes you can have that telepathic connection. Sure, yeah. Like something like that. When you see people, do you see them with your mind's eye? I use all of I don't see them with physical because I've chosen not to do that. I have seen it and I don't like that. I've told that realm I don't want to see them physical. Yeah, I have to live in this life. I can't just walk around seeing people all the time physically. Yeah, I get that too. A lot of patients coming from other doctors like, "Well, that doctor told me," and I was like, "I roll internally." Of course, I don't want to get sued. Yeah, of course. Just got done reading for 10 hours. What are you reading for 10 hours for? It's insane. I had a reader insist I was getting pregnant and I got hysterectomy 3 months later. She was right about some other stuff though. Yeah. I mean, it's not like 100%. And, reading isn't predicting it. There's a series of one thing happens to different it's like a domino effect and different decisions. Oh, last 3 days, yeah. I was going to say I've done some 10-hour days. um Everything that kind of um every decision you make hits like a domino effect, and it kind of starts going into this domino effect, right? And so it's like someone could see something. It was especially funny because the child free by choice, I was like, no, because I'm child right. And that's what I was gonna say. If someone said to you, like, "Listen, there's a child who would like to be born to you, but you have a choice." That's what I always say to people. You can't predict someone having a child because they can choose a whole different path. There is a choice. 20 million tourists a year anyways, I'll follow suit. I don't know what you mean. When you got that gig, did you go into the shop and see if they were real psychics? Because would imagine it being awkward if you are on the job and like, well, these people are fakes. Oh, Terry, it's not a gig. These are like different stores, and the stores in LA that are the real stores. This is a very high end place in a very high end area. So the readers are very high end. So yeah, I knew they were real. Doesn't mean they're all good. Doesn't mean every store you think all the readers are good. Um, but it's not like I just wandered into some place or something. I mean, this is Los Angeles. Do we have some pretty? Oh, it's not like the palm. No, this is Los Angeles. You got to understand this is LA, and there obviously are some lame ass places, but there are some very well reputation places. And um, you this like I said, this was very high end. This was actually a shop a lot of people tried to get into. I think when you get to a certain place in this world and you get it and you get a reputation, um, there are certain shops that you kind of learn your chops in if that's the direction you want to go. But there are definitely shops that are very high end. And then there's the ones that. But it doesn't mean every reader you like. I actually, there was a reader they hired, which I was shocked they hired because he was very much fake. And I saw him on a TV show and I was like, okay, this guy is like really fake. I think even the people knew when he was on the show. But anyway, yeah. 20 million tourists. I don't know what I'll follow suit means. I don't know what that means. But yeah. So it's not like, hey, psychics. Let me tell you, come on. I've been doing this a while. I think I'm not going to be wandering in. But these are really awesome. Whoa, I imagine people at higher end go to psychics too. Like it's like let's be real, we all feel lots of times when you can share the juicy details, but I don't want you to get targeted. Um, Yeah, no, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. I'm quite aware. I think people don't understand that maybe because it's different where you are, but this is Los Angeles, and I think you'd be surprised at hugely amount of very highly successful people go to readers. And these aren't readers just sitting in a window or something. Um, you know, very famous and non-famous, and lots of very high end people go to readers in Los Angeles. It's very common here for someone to go to a reader. So there are particular stores that people know that the readers are more prime. So um, I been in several stores and I would never get targeted. This is me, Terry. You think I'm just like wandering into some of a professional. My conversation, your conversation, what do you mean? Anyways, I'll follow suit of the conversation. I don't know what you're talking about, Sean. You said you did um I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, so you know, um I don't really do stores anymore. You start off doing stores when you're first reading. It's a great place to get clients, it's a great place to practice. Um it's a great place to meet people, but I do everything on my own. Do you have a reader or like to see readers? No, I don't have a reader. I can read myself for one. And if I'm really in a bind, I have had readers in the past, but I would say it's like one or two people I would ever go to. And I mostly did that when I was in a location where there were other readers. And it was really just like for fun, hey, what do you see? Blah, 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 because we would get bored or whatever. Well, is everyone in here a psychic now? I feel left out. Well, I've been told I'm intuitive. Maybe that counts. Well, Terry, you're intuitive and you've studied the mind. And I think the thing is that that's what I'm saying. I think what you guys got to know is that being a reader is one of the highest competitive. It's extremely competitive. It's brutally competitive. And in LA, it's very competitive. And take class with Adela, Terry. Yeah, come on, Terry. So people like, you know, people always want to like up each other in this. I've been doing this for a very, very long time, and I don't do this to be competitive or to be known. And that's what's hard. I do this because I actually care. And I think that's the one thing I will say. I've just met a lot of readers who don't care about people. Um, Have you been ever been read by some reader and they're like fake, but they didn't know, and you were like, "Well, that is fun." I've been read by a lot of fake people, and I have called them on it. Been like, "Nope, nope, that's not it." Same in New Orleans. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure in New Orleans is 100% similar. The thing in LA is LA's kind of, I don't know if it's like that there, but here everyone wants to get famous for it. So the competition is really about that. I don't know if it's like that there. And not a lot of people really care about people. Yeah, I've gotten readings. I got a reading by this guy. He was so off. It was like, yeah, I tried to be nice about it, but only because I had to work next to him. These stories, they need to be told. It can be a whole fun episode. Is it harder or easier to read people you know versus strangers? It's not hard to read people you know. I just don't really like to read people I know because it causes problems. You're going to lose friends if you're reading. I don't ever read um and don't read in relationships, but friends I have read for. If it's like, I mostly like to do it like if it's about a job or a house they want to buy, but them relationships, it could go very bad for your friendship. So yeah, I don't think it's you're gonna see what you're gonna see no matter what. Let me put it this way. When you're a seer and I don't need cards, I see all the time. I think people don't understand that. I see all the time. I choose to mute it around people to give them their privacy if I'm not reading. Let's put it that way. And that's something I did when I was very young, and I didn't understand it then, why my friends would get upset with me. Um, because I would tell them things I saw. I didn't know how to not say things. What? If you have a friend who's a reader, I would invite him to my house all the time. Hell, free room and board. Yeah, but see that, but we don't like that, Terry, because we feel very used. We don't want to be reading someone all the time because you're not really being a friend to the person. You don't want someone to just be around. That's why you can't have friends. Friends are people who want to hang out with you, not with what you see. I see dead people. Got to treat everyone like they're a person first. Yes. Signal went bad. Signal went bad. Oh, okay. I was always end up saying the wrong right thing to people. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't really say things to people unless they ask. Here's the rule. You don't ever say anything to anyone unless they ask. And honestly, I only do it in a professional setting. What was your rural Louis? What was that? Just our rural Louisiana internet? Probably. Probably Victoria. Working again now. Okay. Well, this has been a Q&A and not a reader's night. So that was interesting. I mean, not a night of me doing readings. This was a night of me doing Q&A. Okay. Well, this was interesting. Wasn't, uh, uh, you know, I wasn't expecting anything actually. I'll be making conversation and happen upon the topic they've been thinking about. Yeah, that's because you're not blocking it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm very aware of what's going on with someone and I purposely ignore it. You see what I mean? So when you really are truly blocking it because it's invasive to say things to people they didn't want to ask you about. So I can see what's going on with someone. I'm always aware. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not oh, I never can. I don't turn it off and not be aware. I'm aware, but it's like background noise. So I keep it on background noise all the time. I'm very, very aware and I keep it on background noise. I don't um I don't ever not be aware. So I can know what's going on with people. I see it like in a millisecond and I just put it on background noise. That's what I mean by mute. I don't need to say what I already know. I have a question though, like Mexican has a version of the underworld and the Chinese has their own version. Is it like when people pass, they go to the version they know, like it depends on belief? No. Maybe I need a passport to go to the Mexican place for the dead. Um, no, it's those are just those different cultures have given really cool their their storyline of the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just different cultures have presented their wonderful creative storyline of the same thing. Um, yeah, it's not muting. Like I said, I think people don't realize I see all the time. When I mean I see all the time, I'm aware of what I'm seeing and I am being respectful. When you are not making it a point to know that it is not about showing off what you see, meaning like when your goal is to make sure people are comfortable and you are not here to try to show off what you can do when your goal is to make sure you're giving respect to people, then you'll get better at not doing that. You see, like you to me, I like people and I'm not here to show off what I do at all. So I'm aware. It's kind of like if you were aware, if I touch this thing, it may, it may zap it. So I'm going to be aware of that and be very, very careful about what I'm doing around people because I don't want to hurt anybody. So I'm very aware of everything around me and the people around me, but I see it and I put it on background noise. And I only read people when they ask me to be read in a professional setting. I think that a lot of readers I've noticed in my time of doing this, they're very interested in showing off what they can see. Um, and you got to be careful of that when you let the ego go and try to show people, oh, this is what I see. I see these things. Um, that's not the reason to do it. I have a very strong love for people and my heart. And that's what's very hard about this work is that most people don't feel this way. Um, I really want people to be free. I want people to be empowered. I want people to know there's a whole world on the other side. There's a world within this world and you can see it. I am I'm not I never intended on doing this to put the focus on me, but in order to do this work, you have to put yourself out there. If you want to help a lot of people, you have to put yourself out there. That was always secondary to me. Yeah, I get that too. I hate it when people at dinner like ask me for medical advice, like, what's wrong with my knee? I want to do it in a professional setting too. It's annoying when I'm eating turkey. Ain't gonna think about bad knees. Exactly. I've had people do that to me. I was at a dinner and it was like a wedding thing, and somebody's like, "Can you read me right now?" And I'm like, "No, because I'm drinking wine. I'm at a dinner. I mean, I can, but do I want to? No, I'm relaxing. I'm a therapist. I get lots of questions. Yeah. When I have a theory because I've said this about lawyers too. If you have an ability that you don't need anything with, right? Like you guys have information in your head, right? You're a doctor, you have information in your head. Victoria has information in her head as a therapist. It's here. It's not tangible, like you're not handing it to someone. Then people just think they could just ask you stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're like, "Oh, it's no big deal. I can just ask you," because you don't have to like give them anything, and especially if you're not a tarot card reader, you don't have to pull out cards, right, or anything. So like, just tell me real quick. You can just tell me real quick. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Right? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? So I think people don't value it. Like if you were like sitting at the dinner and you're a hairdresser, they're not going to be like, "Can you give me a haircut real quick? Just real quick. Give a little, give a little snip snip." Terry, could you moonlight as a comedian? I know. Isn't he funny, Catherine? He's so funny. He's so How come we never saw you use cards though? It's like not your calling. Because I don't need cards, Terry. I did use cards long ago, long ago when I was like 19. No, I was probably like 20 something. I used them for like months. And every time I was playing with them and I would read with people, I would say, um, I'm pretending I'm using these cards, but I really am just seeing what I see with them. I didn't think they would believe me. So it just, cards are awesome. Tarot cards are beautiful. Tarot card readers are really awesome. It's just not my thing. And let me tell you, back in the day when I started reading, people did not understand it. They're like, "You don't use cards. How do you see things?" And I was like, "I just see." People did not get it. I mean, it took me 50, I would say it took me 10 to 12 years doing this until people started understanding it and the world started changing. Have you ever had a client who booked with you, but then when it came time to do the appointment, they backed out? Like maybe the spirit was newly deceased, so the client changed their mind. Um, Yeah, absolutely. I've had people say, and then I always say, no problem. And I tell them they can rebook. I never want someone to feel pushed into doing a reading ever. I've had people, usually that's because a friend of theirs or someone said, you have to go to her. This is going to help you. And they weren't, it wasn't their idea. So whenever someone says to me, someone told me I should do a reading with you, I always say, did you want to do this or did you feel pushed? Because you shouldn't do this if you felt pushed. I never want someone to get a reading who felt pushed into it. But it's mostly because they are not ready and maybe they just didn't feel like they were ready. I had a lady once come to the office that I was at, and her friend pushed her to do it, and I said, "Do you not wanna do this?" And she said, "Not really," and I'm like, "Don't do it." You have to that's why I said it has to be permissionable. Like, the person has to want it, they have to ask for it. You can't like, whenever people book a reading for someone, I'm like, "Don't book a reading for them. They have to book it themselves." It's very personal. At least I'm not here to do entertainment, you know? I'm really trying to help people, so I'm not trying to push people into anything. So, any other questions? So I think it's like January 16, Queer Eye Netflix is part of two of New Orleans, and they go to one of my BF's house and she reads them. She's actually ended up reading the whole crew, but okay, it Adela. Huh? Okay, it? Oh, check it out. Okay, cool. Are there people who book a reading, but they're skeptical, but you turn them into a believer? Sounds like a YouTube commercial. Well, Terry, a million times. It's actually how I built my reputation, Terry. Honestly, I've built my reputation on skeptics. Most of the time in my life of reading, uh, skeptics have come to me. True skeptics don't come to me. People who are skeptical of this, but when I used to do medium galleries, it would be like 20, 30 people, reading big groups and stuff. Um, and there would always be someone skeptical. And one time this guy, I was in this group and I pretty much read skeptics constantly. Not as much as I used to because people know about me now, but even now, and let me tell you who, like, they'll be hard on you. And I'm good with it. I like skeptics. People should be skeptical. They should be, skeptical of the person they're reading, and all of that. But anyway, I one time was doing a medium gallery and there was this guy in the audience and he was like heckling me. Um, are you a celebrity? No, his friend is no, he's a reader, but his friend's a reader. It's gonna be on the Queer Eye. I was and the guy was like heckling me. He was uh no, I don't know, he was being very, very difficult. He Sean is not a celebrity. Sean, don't fuck with him. He's not a celebrity, Terry. Um, but yeah, he was like heckling me. Anyway, the funny thing is that after I read I made him wait. I said, "You have to wait because you're being difficult." And I read the whole room. He was acting like he was like annoyed, and and all this. And then I read everybody in the room. And then he was like, "I want one now. I really want one." I said, "Fine." So I read him and I was spot on. And so he went and he goes, can you talk to Jesus?" And I said, "Yeah, everybody can talk to Jesus, I'm pretty sure." And he became one of my biggest like promoters. He came to all my galleries. He told people about me. And what I like about skeptics is that if they when they're skeptical and they get a reading and they think you nailed it, they'll be more loyal than the people who go to psychics all the time. They're like kind of blasé. They'll be like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, it's cool," because they just go to people all the time. It's actually the people who aren't used to it will be your biggest advocate. Do you have issues with finding someone on the other side or them not wanting to talk? No, because I don't read that way. People tell me who they want to speak to. They want to speak to their grandmother, their mother's side, their best friend. And like I said, I've been doing that forever. And I worked really, really hard to learn how to do that. So I never have that. And I never had that even before. That's so cute. Would it be fun if that guy was on your show and was like, "Yeah, she's the real deal." I have had Lots of skeptics, and skeptics are my favorite. People should be skeptical. You should be very skeptical of the person you're getting a reading, but people who are truly skeptical of this sort of thing will never go to a psychic, ever. Real, true skeptics don't go to readers. Like they don't believe in it. People who are skeptical of me, and if I'm real, but they believe in this sort of thing, will come to me. And how I handle it, someone asks, is I go, that's fine. You can be skeptic. If you are afraid of them and you're like, oh, you're not open enough and you're not this enough, they will smell it on you. They don't like it. And I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to believe in what I do. What I say to them is like, let me just do what I do. And you could just think about what you think about it later. Just let me just do it. And then you could decide. I don't try to, I go, listen, I've been doing this too long. I'm not here to try to convince anybody of anything. I'm not trying to win anybody over. This isn't a conversion. I'm not trying to convert anybody to some kind of belief. I just do what I do. Like I said, you're born with this. This is how I am. This is how I've been since I could ever remember. Take it or leave it. And when you act that way, people relax. When you're trying to win them over, it's terrible. How would you know if something's real or not if you never understand it? That's always my question. Um, how would you know if something's real or not if you never understand it? That's always my question. What do you mean by that? If you never understand it. You mean if you never try it? Oh, yeah. I think that there are people who just have a belief system. They're atheists. They believe that when you die, everything's over. That's it. Fade to black and there's nothing else going on. And then there's people who you know, and that's it, and that's fine. So, I don't think there's anything wrong. People don't have to believe anything. All I say to people is don't come to me then, but don't come to me. And I've had this, and this is part of going earning your stripes as a reader. I've had people come to me and they back in the day, that people put you through the ringer or they want you to prove themselves, and it's very different in what I do because I read without anything. I don't have stones in front of me. I don't have cards in front of me. I'm just telling this person I can look at you and tell you things about you, and I can look at you and talk to the dead. They are very hard on people like me with tarot card readers. They'll tend to be hard on them too, but they'll tend to like kind of tell them how to use their cards and how their way they're doing it is wrong. I've heard a lot of that because now people are very savvy about cards and not even a pendulum. So I get spouses that are skeptical that come in where the husband's like, hell no, till I do a spread for the fourth card, and shuts up and starts staring intently. Okay, cool. I don't read people together, but I could see that. What do those atheists tend to say about how they react when they get to the other side? Um, yeah, they're really cool. People on the other side who were atheists here, they say this is the version they see now they believe in because it's not spiritual, it's not mystical, it's scientific and it's more sci-fi, and that's how it really is. So they always say if someone had explained it to me that it was like this, that it was more like sci-fi than mystical and religious, then I would have been way more open to this. That's what they always say. Always. Every time. Yeah, because it is more sci-fi. It is way more like science than it is mystical. And that's how I see that realm as well. And so they always say, I'm really, really happy to report that I was right, that maybe, me not believing in a God sitting there at the gate and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And that there's no judgment and all that. I was right, and that it's more sci fi and scientific than it is mystical. So, yeah, makes sense. Right. That's what I hear. So, that's a really good question. And, for me, the reason why I don't really care about winning people over. I've been doing this too long. And I think that people don't understand that when you do this, you have to, this is a lifestyle and you can never get ego or cocky, and you have to be humble and realize that this is something that um, you want to do, and that you have to be willing to learn. And there's lots of lessons to learn. Like when I first started reading professionally, I thought I knew stuff. And let me tell you, you have to be in all kinds of circumstances with all kinds of people. And there's just so much lessons to learn. Well, I mean, the more we understand the science, the more the universe makes sense, of course. Yeah, true. Yeah. So I would say it's not for the weak of heart. I'll tell you, this path is definitely for people who I personally can't stand ego behind anybody. And if that's, people who are boasting about how great they are and how powerful they are and all this stuff, that's just a turn off to me. Um, I think compassion and empathy is key. And if I don't feel compassion and empathy in a reader, I'm not really interested. So, wait, is there an opposite where a reader passed and we went to the other side and was like, wow, this is not what I imagined as well? I've never seen that. Depends on their belief system. Because, there are readers who are Christians and there are readers who are Buddhists. And I've had a lot of healers say that. Yeah, I've had people who are spiritualists and they say it's a little different, but not 100% different. It's usually the people who thought there was going to be someone waiting for them at the gates with a list, like Santa Claus. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go now. So this was like a Q&A. Phew. Way longer of a Q&A than I thought. I use your slicing and onion analogy 3 times a day with clients. What's my slicing and onion? Oh, peeling an onion? Okay, cool. Healers sound really scammy these days. Anyone can be a healer. I know, Terry. It's a problem. It's a problem. Let's ask Terry a question. Have you had someone come to you and go, well, my healer told me that it's this and they diagnosed me. Has that happened to you? Thank you for answering all the questions. You're welcome. Wow, you need a trademark that now that you know that. I need a trademark of what? Trademark of what? What trademark? Terry, are you going to start managing me? Is that it? Terry's giving all this advice. I think we need to see Terry being a doctor and being a comedian. By the way, Terry's being very humble himself because the onion analogy, I think it's been used before, Terry. Um, I think Terry is being humble because aren't you a neurosurgeon? Can't you tell me what's going on with my mind and how I'm able to see the things I see? I think you should come on my podcast, Terry. Doesn't everybody give a round of applause if you want Terry to come on my podcast and talk to us about the neuroscience of psychics? Being a doctor is Terry's day job. It's Terry's right, Terry. He'll never do it. He won't do it. You can do it. Yes, Terry. We want Terry to come on the house medium. If I got my man, I'll think about it. That's what's up, right, Sean? Like so Terry, I have to produce a man for Terry for him to do. Come on, Terry. Throw me a bone here. Come on to my podcast and talk about, because I'm very interested. Otherwise I have to ask ChatGPT, but I could just ask you these questions. Pretty please. I know this doesn't work on you, but I'm still trying. Still waiting on some tea. I know we're waiting on the tea of the man that Terry's supposed to be having. All right. Well, we tried, everyone. We would love for you to come on, but he's never going to. If anyone else wants to come on, then send in your stories to the house medium at Gmail. Meantime, I am pooped. I read all day. I did all of these other things and got Christmas stuff done and yada, yada, yada. Some nose diving. Still wait on some tea. Tea. We should say tea. Tea. We're waiting for some tea. In my case, we're waiting on some coffee. And I was fancy and everything. Mhm. Oops, I thought I was going to do fancy readings, but I did fancy questions. Fancy tip hair. My hair's all right. Well, everyone get some rest. Um, see you guys again maybe next week for some readings. Maybe I don't know. What's next week? Is that near Christmas? Maybe next week's not going to be a good time. Good night. Much love to you. Much love to you. Get some rest, Sean. You can't just be reading nonstop and shit. Although it's good for you. That's what you do when you're in the beginning days. Keep reading. That's right. You got to do it. Do it. Thank you for your chat. That was fun. Love Adela fancy or not. Fun evening. Thanks. I will try next week for a reading. Okay. All right. We weren't doing readings tonight. This is what we were doing. Maybe this was just, needed. Thank you all so much. And don't forget I'm going to do a voting poll on what to name the AI. Remember, you listened to the podcast today. By the way, these gloves are so soft. Just love them. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a nice night. Get some rest. Terry, get rest. And email me, Terry. Call me to come on my podcast. Really fun. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Zachary. I know this was fun. We can do readings / this too. That's what I've always meant this to be. So maybe now you guys get it. All right. And we can get this going. Really fun. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Yeah. See, we can do both. That's what I've always kind of, had in mind. See y'all soon.